Zohar parashat Balak, ליום sheni. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Rami Tadi Bislo le Kamem al Kakadisha. Yamtanena asir le Barnash, le Rama Yado il est là. Bar Bitzelo, Birkaan, Tachalunim Amare. Tirti Varimutiati El Hashem, El Elon, Targeman, Arimi Yadi Bitzelo. Tihaet Va'an Didin Milin Ilain Irubehu. Veashta Ana Achi, Avidena et Amina de Cholman, Ilen Abar, Isadar Kame. Mare, Avid Garme, Bilorota, Bichikunada, Kedakaya Ot. Chikunada, La Tehedar Selote, Bereknia. Yabi Elazar said, it is written, I will lift up my hands or raise my hands in the Tefilah in front of Hashem. So it is written, the one that knows how to put the seder in his Tefilah, the proper order in his Tefilah, and knows when he can put his hands up. And it is asur, it's forbidden to lift up the hands if it is not in the right moment, which in what? In the Tefilah or in the Berachot, in the Tachanunim. And as it is written, Varimoti Yadi El Hashem, I will raise my hands to Hashem. Because we know that the 10 fingers are a remes to the 10 sefirot. And so when we raise our fingers, we try to bring the shefar, right, the abundance from the 10 sefirot to us. But if they are raised in the wrong time, then instead of addressing to the 10 sefirot lema'ala, above, we address the 10 sefirot lemata, of the negative force. So then it's birkat lebatala, and the effect is the opposite. So that's why it says, when I lift up my hand, then I have to know when I raise them. And to know when, there's also 4 levels, as we know, the Tefilah, which we go through the four olamot, the 4 worlds, Asiya, Yetzira, Beria, and then Atzilut when we get to the Amidah. And the same thing, we have to put ourselves in 4 conditions, if you want. So one is to be Eved, I mean a servant, a Chassid, a Ani, which means a poor man, Moser Nafsho, one that is ready to give his neshama for the Kiddush Hashem. So this is the seder of the Tefilah. So bekamita Eved lesadera shebecha kameh mare uzimra kameh vedat betush bechan dekame telota. So first, as a Eved, as a servant, is when he's doing all this praise to Hashem, which is in the Mizmorim of David HaMelech, right? The Pesukei de Zimra. So he has to see himself as a Eved. Ulbata Eved lebata tzaleh selota de Amidah. You are that desider selota de mare. Ulbata Eved lebata desaleh kol selote ve'azil. Ve'ada David telat zimnin avad garme ve'selota da Eved. Dirtiv Oshar avdecha ata Elokai sameach nefesh avdecha. U'otif dena uzdecha le'avdecha. Atela zimnin istarich l'shaveh garme Eved. And it says, and then after the Amidah, he has also to make himself a Eved. He's like what? A Eved that prepared the Tefilah in front of the Lord. Right? In other words, we come as a servant. We come and we prepare, as a servant prepares for his master, we prepare the Tefilah the way it's supposed to be to our master, which is Hashem. And after that it's finished, his Tefilah, right? That he also has to consider himself as a Eved, and to be able to bring this abundance. And as we said this Pesukim here, that 3 times David HaMelech said about being a Eved, right? So, like, Osha Avdecha, Sameach Nefesh Avdecha, U'tiv Teda Uzecha Le'Avdecha. So we see that's 3 times that he has to make himself a Eved. ואתה שבאגר מגו אינון דמסדרי נפשהו הוא על קדושת השם והיינו ביקודת דשמע ישראל לכל מן דשווה אחי רעותי ועקרי התחשיב לי כאילו מסר נפשי על קדושת השם. There's also, after that, after the first time that he considers himself and makes himself as a Eved, he has to make himself like he's giving his neshama to Kiddushat Hashem. This is when Shema Israel, right? And it says the one that feels this is like if he's really doing it at this moment. ואתה שווה גרמי אני בזינה דעה ונפיק דשים ורומי מרומים כד אמר אמת ויציב ושמח גאולה לתפילה למביא בצלותה עמידה תעביר ליבה ענייה ומסכנה שווה לרעותי וכלילה גום מסווה בטיבו דליבה ויבוא דנפשה. He says after when he is between the Kriyat Shema and the Amidah, he's like a poor man that comes and knocks on the door, right? And we know that the door is to the Amidah will go in the Olam Atzilut. So like we knocking on the door, so the doors will be open, right? So then he has to feel like he's a ani, like a poor man knocking on doors, right? And he has to feel like he has a broken heart, and as a broken heart that he comes to implore, right? לבטר שווה גרמי אגו חסידים בשומע תפילה, לפרשה חטאו. יסתרי יחיד בשומע תפילה. בגינה תבקה וימינה פשוטה לקבלה לעילון דתבין. וידן יקרה חסיד, האבא אילן כדקאיות. And after, he has to make himself, or to feel himself like a chassid, when in the Birkat Shomer Tefilah, that's in the middle of the Amidah, when we do this beracha, and then he has to say about all his sins, about all he did wrong, and to confess what he did. And at the same time, we know that it's at the part in the Amidah where you can stop and ask about what you want. But before you ask what you want, you have to feel also if there's something that you have to say. Okay, you have to do it, because as it is written, the one that come and regret what they do, well, it's accepted. So this has to make himself as a chassid. So if we go back, so we said Eved, the beginning of the Tefilah, Besirut Nefesh b'Shema Israel, Ani Emet v'Yatziv, right? So you have to get to the Amidah, and Chassid b'Shomer Tefilah. But after that, we'll see that 2 times again he has to consider himself Eved. Man keli lechol hani, ahu deka istachich lekalel alon, va'ihu Eved dekali lebar she'ah. What englobes all this, right? Is when he is in this state of feeling as an eved, as a servant, right? That encompasses everything, the ani, the chassid, and everything. תלת אבין אלו בדעת דוחתין לכל אחד. אבל כתיב, ידי כהנה עבדים אל יד אדוניהם וגומר. בין עבד לעבד אינון אחרנין. בין עבד קדמאה לעבד עניינה יתלה למבזר נפשי, על ייחודה דקודשת שמי. ושווה גרמי עני מסכנה בצלותה דעמידה. ושווה גרמי גור חסידים בשומר תפילה. יבד ותא בתר ניסיין בסידך כולה, וישרתה דסדר ורנש כל עני סידורים, רק אינו דליבה. ושב לכו ניחא כמי ופריש מיני עלי ברו עבד דליטאה. וקרא עלי ואמר לי עבדי אתה. הכתיב ויאמר לי עבדי אתה ישראל אשר יראי פאר ודצלותה דרך ברנש לא ידע וכנראה לעלמין. So we said 3 times he has to feel like a servant in the three parts of the tefillah, right? And it says it's 3 times, but in reality it's like 1 time that he has to consider himself all the time like that. So it's like a eved that's there from the beginning to the end. In other words, someone that comes and does his tefillah, he should not feel like he's superior to anything. In the contrary, he should feel like comes to do this tefillah. He's the eved, he comes to ask. And really, eved is even more than that. It says here that when you do tefillah, what does eved do? Prepare something and brings to his master. The same thing we have to feel as eved, preparing the tefillah to bring the tefillah to our master. In other words, I'm not praying for me. I'm just making the tefillah and bringing it to you. Okay? And then when he does that, then he has on this level of chassid, ve'ani, etc. And it says here, the one that knows how to do these 3 levels, and at the four times of this tefillah, he says for sure Hashem opens his hand and receives his tefillah, and he says, Avdi ata, you are my servant. He accepts him, and if he accepts him, he accepts his tefillah. And he says the one that does that, for sure, his tefillah does not come unanswered. Shalom, amen.